Okay, so recently I've been, watching some My Little Pony vids, being a brony and all. I was looking at some of the comments on a video talking about this villain tribute video to all the new villains in the generation in Friendship is Magic, and it's like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if some of the villains from the other series got revamped for this series? I was like, are they really that cool that they could be revamped? So I did a little digging. I did a little digging around, and yes, I know it's kind of the forbidden zone for anyone from G3 and beyond. Like, the bronies don't really acknowledge the other stuff. So I go looking around, and I was like, what makes some of these people think that they could have cool villains to revamp for this series? And wow. For a girl show back in the 80s, they had some really interesting villains. They didn't last long, but you could really do some interesting things here. They had some really cool ones, like Alphas. I think I'm saying his name right. He was a demon who fed on shadows. Lavan, who is this lava king who basically wanted to take away all the princesses in the pony world, or whatever they called it back then. And it wasn't called Equestria. And they basically he basically used their magic to try to take over the world. There's some really cool villains, but I found two that really stood out to me, and I think these two have the best shot of getting revamped. And this is how, if I had any say in the show, this is how I would revamp them. So, kicking off right here, as you can see right here, is Tarik. Tarik was the first G1, first generation villain. He was from the first episode. Tarik is basically a 12 to 15 foot centaur who's this powerful sorcerer, and he lives in this place called the Midnight Castle. Tarik has this very imposing voice, who actually, if memory serves, the voice actor who did the voice of Tarik was the same voice actor who did the announcements for G1 Transformers, like as you may recall, like, we now return to the Transformers. It was that guy, at least as memory serves. I think it was that guy. But yeah, Tarik was very imposing. He was this gigantic satyr demon who, basically, what his goal was, he basically kidnapped ponies and turned them into dragon. These demonic creatures with this thing called the Rainbow of Darkness, which was this giant shadow force held in this bag that hung around his neck. And he used it to basically turn them into these demonic creatures to help him pull a chariot that would put him into the sky and plunge the world into eternal darkness where demons could reign. And I was like, shit, yeah, he could work if they do him right. Now, Tarik, how I would go about revamping Tarik, I would keep that he is a centaur, and basically his titanic size, and I would also have it like Tarik was a opponent that Celestia faced a long time ago after banishing her sister Luna. Tarik was this evil creature from beyond the Everfree Forest and had an army, and what he basically did was try to take over Equestria with his army, but Celestia stopped him with the Elements of Harmony. So, Tarik has been gone for thousands of years, but comes back with a new weapon, the Rainbow of Darkness, which is the anti-Elements of Harmony. He basically takes all the hatred and darkness from the world and forges it into a weapon. Like I said, he's a powerful sorcerer. And he's basically back and now has a weapon that can rival the Elements of Harmony. So, that's how I would go about doing it. Now, the other thing about Tarik was he had this second in command called Scorpan. Scorpan was a gargoyle who was originally a human, but Scorpan was corrupted by Tarik, and he actually betrayed Tarik to try to rescue the ponies, but was severely injured. He became a human again, but in the revamp, I would have him Scorpan working for Tarik, but I wouldn't have him like he was a human once. I'd have him like he's always been a gargoyle. And actually take a little nod to the Gargoyles original series, the 90s cartoon which I'm talking about, and have it like his race were Stone by day and they could live by night. But what happened was Tirik's army found the gargoyles and tried to, he's like, work for me, and you shall have a greater territory. And Scorpan, the leader of his clan, was like, no, absolutely not. So when daybreak came, when Scorpan woke up from his stone sleep, he finds all of his clan members just smashed to pieces, and he's left by his lonesome. And Tarik says, "Now you will work for me." And Scorpan basically works as him as his second in command because he has no other place to go. And the other thing, another cool fact was in the G1 series, Spike also worked for Tarik. But in here, I would change it if Tarik was revamped, since Spike was hatched by Twilight. I'd actually have it that Spike, because in the original series, Spike and Scorpan were friends, and Scorpan betrayed Tarik to protect Spike as well. So in here, I'd have it like Spike becomes friends with Scorpan, and they kind of have a friendship that's kind of like in homage to Gohan and Piccolo. Because that's basically what I saw this episode as like. It's like Gohan and Piccolo from the first episodes of Dragon Ball Z. So I definitely have that, and maybe for shits and giggles, I'd like to have Scorpan voiced by Chris Sabat, the voice of Piccolo. So that'd be kind of fun. The other thing in here, like I said, Scorpan, like he's cold and he's just cold and dead. He feels dead to the world, but becoming friends with Spike, he realizes, oh man, I've been working for the wrong guy this whole time. So Scorpan wants to help them defeat Tarik, and Tarik's plan, just like in the original pilot when he first appeared, he's basically corrupting ponies to turn them into these monsters to help him, bring the power of the Rainbow of Darkness into the world. He wants to cover the world in eternal darkness, similar to what Nightmare Moon tried to do, but I'd actually upgrade it, do another one-up. Not only purge the world in darkness, but unleash all the creatures, every evil demon and spirit that was ever forged, in the pits of Tartarus, and help them like a gateway into this world, and Tarik would reign supreme. So, and the other thing is, like, I'd really like to see how the main six would handle an opponent that has a weapon that can match blow for blow with the elements of harmony. Like I said, I'd make the Rainbow of Darkness the anti-elements of harmony. So that's what I would do with Tarik. The other soldiers that Tarik had these huge humanoid dragon soldiers as well. He also had dragons on his side, like these serpent-like dragons. I think they didn't call them dragons. They called them something else. Saurians? I can't remember. But I definitely he'd have an army on his side, and I'd even have it like he's laying siege to Canterlot, and they're like, oh, but it's still a kid's show, even though it has a huge adult fan base, Zilla. Well, from what I saw of the end of Season 3, of the second part of the Royal Wedding, I saw, like, these guys were actually fighting each other, like Celestia was fighting Chrysalis, and they were fighting the Changelings, and the Elements of Harmony couldn't be used. They're actually going the offensive, so maybe it'd just be awesome to see Canterlot being lay siege to by Tarik's forces, like one big Lord of the Rings-esque war scene. I don't know, I just think that'd be kind of cool. So, definitely, that's what I would do with Tarik. In terms of voice actor, now voice actor, since I don't know if his original voice actor is still alive, but if I could pick anybody else, it would definitely be someone with a very powerful and dreading voice. Someone like maybe, I don't know who would be really interesting to get, because I mean, hell, they got John Delancey to voice Discord, so if I could pick anybody to do the voice of Tarik, it would be like someone like Steve Blum, excuse me. Andre Browder, the guy who did the voice of voice of Darkseid in Superman Batman Apocalypse. Again, small choice, but hey, they could do it if they give him enough money, like, oh, well, I'll do the voice of this weird centaur character. And again, it's just a fan cast. Other people I could see doing the voice is maybe someone like, I wouldn't say like big actor, like someone with a very deep voice. Maybe like I don't know, Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill would be really good. He'd be really cool, because he can do very sinister voices. I'm not talking about just the Joker, guys. He's done other villain voices, like he's done the voice of Ozai from Avatar. He did the voice of some villains in... he's doing a villain now in this show called Motor City, which I actually got to watch a couple episodes. It's actually pretty cool, so... Yeah, definitely, if I could pick anyone, definitely Mark Hamill to do the voice of Tarik. But that's basically my ideas for Tarik. And I've got one other villain that really interests me. If I could pick another character to be revamped in Friendship is Magic, this other character would definitely... I'd really like to have a step up on this one. So here's the other one. Now, this villain came from, I believe, the G3 series, and this is another character, if I could pick any other that could get a cool revamp, this one, and his name is Grogar. Grogar is, yes, you can see, he's a goat. He appeared in the G3 series, and what he is, get this, guys, he's an actual demonic necromancer. They came out and said it in the show. He uses the power of necromancy on his side, and his whole thing that he wants to conquer all of Equestria. He wants to make this whole world his, and what he did was, to back him up and amplify his powers, he actually stole all the unicorns in the world of the My Little Pony universe, because again, it wasn't called Equestria. And what he did was amplify his powers with all the magic of the unicorns in here. So, now, how I would go about revamping... Oh, the other thing I forgot to mention, a little more about Grogar. Grogar is also... he has his own kingdom called Tambalon. Tambalon is pretty much like this castle that lives in another dimension, and every 500 years, Tambalon would form in the Pony universe, and this would give Grogar his opportunity to attack. So, Grogar also had his own army, like Tarik, only his army was like orcs and goblins, and other, ogres, goblins, just ogres and goblins and trolls. He also had a right-hand man, not as cool as Scorpan, but he was basically this kiss-up who was known as Bray. Bray was a donkey who was actually voiced by Frank Welker. So, how I would revamp... Oh, the other thing, I keep forgetting about this guy. Grogar, all his power comes from these bells on his neck. That's where he gets his power and sorcery and necromancy from. Grogar is also incredibly strong and also very devious. He has this very high and raspy voice. Now, how I would go about revamping Grogar. Grogar, if I could revamp him for the Friendship is Magic series, I'd revamp him and make him the equivalent of... He's basically Equestria's equivalent of Darkseid from, Justice League. I would make him like he is the end-all, be-all villain. He is the embodiment of darkness, which they keep saying Grogar is the embodiment of darkness in the original series, so I'd really buff that up. Another thing, I would change his character a bit, because in the original series, he looked like a regular-sized goat. In here, I would actually make him huge, like he's maybe... he's from head to hoof, he's about 12 feet tall. And in terms of voice actor, I'd actually give the role to Frank Welker. I would give, because like I said, he was Bray, but I'd actually give him, if I could have any say in it, I would give the role to Frank Welker to be the voice of Grogar, and I would love to have him, let him have that let him do his Megatron voice. Maybe like the G1 Megatron, because there is a subtle difference between his Prime and G1 Megatron. His G1 Megatron, Welker's G1 Megatron, is very high-pitched and raspy, kind of like how Grogar was, whereas his Prime Megatron voice is a little more lower-toned and a lot more darker. So definitely doing his... I'd actually like to see him do his Prime Megatron voice for here. And again, he's working for the Hub already, and he has said, I've worked in the show in the past. Why not? If they want me to do something, I'll do it. So let him be the villain. the other thing with Grogar, I would make him like he's a master manipulator. Like I said, I'd make him the equivalent of Darkseid in here. So I'd make him like he's tempting all these people to work for him. I'd actually give him like his own command. Like he would still have the goblins and the ogres and all this, and of course Bray. And I'll get onto Bray in a second. But I'd also have him like he gathers all the other villains we saw in the other series, not like Discord or something. And that's the thing. I would actually make like even Discord is afraid of Grogar. Like it's it's Grogar. Oh hell no! And just turn himself into stone. He's like, I wasn't here. But in here, I'd actually have him like all the other lesser-known villains working for him, like the Diamond Dogs, Gilda, and even Trixie are all working for him. Like they all serve him, and they all get new powers. And you'd see like they'd all get these bells around their necks. So that's how they get their powers, and how you know that's how you know they serve Grogar. Now getting on to Bray. Bray, I'd actually like to have him voiced by Steve Blum. On the grounds of, again, I'd like to have a little show that, yeah, the Hub has all their voice actors working on different shows, and basically do his Starscream voice, like, yes, Lord Grogar, and all this. I can't do any Steve Blum, because Steve Blum is the man. And, I would have Steve Blum play as Bray, and kind of be like, they're like Starscream and Megatron, only Bray is incredibly loyal to Grogar, but he keeps messing up. And Grogar just punishes him over and over again. He's like, your punishment is swift and just, Lord Grogar. Ow, ow, ow. And Grogar, like I said, I'd make him like a lot like personality of G1 Megatron, not G1, but Prime Megatron, where he's like, do not fail me, because he didn't take any shit. Because, like I said, I'd have the voice actor of Frank Welker doing the voice, if I could have any say, and he would be just like, he'd smash stuff. He's like, do not take me for a fool, Bray. And, you know, this and that, and be awesome. His soldiers, the orcs and the goblins, I'd really update more to be, they look a little more uglier, they're drooling, they're a little more, but they're scared, they're not so much loyal to Grogar, they're more, like, afraid of him. Another thing, the world of Tambalon, the kingdom of Tambalon, you know, Grogar's home. I'd have it where, instead of Grogar, used to be in Equestria. He used to be equestrian. Well, not a pony, I mean, but he lived on Equestria and ruled the kingdom of Tambalon. And what he did was, a long time ago, Grogar formed an army of all the creatures of darkness and marched on trying to take over Equestria. However, he was stopped, not by Celestia and Luna, he was stopped by Luna and Celestia's mother and father. They defeated him, and remember, they didn't have the elements of harmony or everything, but they used their own magic to defeat Grogar, and Grogar and all of Tambalon and its people were, all except Bray, were trapped. Well, even Bray too, I take that back. Bray and everyone, all the creatures that work for Grogar and all of Tambalon have been sealed in another dimension. They've been gone for almost instead of 500 years, they've been gone for 5,000 years. And Grogar uses some magic to at least send Bray out into the world. It's like, return Bray. And I also have like, this world they've been living in keeps them immortal. So, he managed to get Bray out there. He's like, you know the plan. Go, and do not fail me. So, Bray, I'd send him out in the world, and actually have it like, he pretends to be friends with the main six, he becomes friends with Twilight and the rest of them, and then, when everything's right, like, he manipulates everything, he actually gets Trixie and Gilda and the Diamond Dogs to work for him, like they're agents of Grogar, and then use some kind of magic spell they find in the Royal Canterlot library. They would use it to bring all of Tambalon into the Equestria, and that's when Grogar would, unleash his power, and even Celestia's terrified of Grogar. She'd even tell, like, not even the elements of harmony can stop Grogar. He's too powerful. And, like I said, I'd really play up. He is well, I know I said Megatron, but I meant in, like, voice terms and personality, but he has that effect of, like, he is, like, the equestrian equivalent of Darkseid, and Tambalon is like Apocalypse. So, more or less, there's all that, guys. I really had fun talking about at least these two other villains. There are a few other villains, but I kind of picked these two because these two would really be kind of revamped and be kind of badass in the new series. So, yeah, I know I know there's a lot of others, but, and I think if I talked about any more, I think I'd drive myself insane, because there's a couple cool others like Zeb, but Zeb was kind of like, the only way I could use him, because he was a zebra who was a greedy con artist. And I just have it like, oh, he's a greedy con artist, but just in Equestria now. And there are a few others, but I was like, these two, definitely these two. If I could pick any, these two should be in the new series. The new series somewhere in one of the seasons. So, anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and, yeah,